Hello, everyone. So, thank you so much for joining us for our first live ever. I'm so excited. Seriously, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and a lot of people have mentioned that they want some answers to some questions that they've been having about the channel. So, I thought, even if no one joins us for the first little bit, hey, it's something to do, and hey, you can watch the playback later, and you can join us in the next one. So, it's going to be Tuesday, probably every Tuesday, about 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So adjust your clocks accordingly and try to be here with us if you can. So today we're going to be talking about a few things. First thing I really wanted to mention for the first live ever, and for the kind of one of the reasons I'm doing this is because I had the 7 for 7 challenge this last week, and let me tell you, it was exhausting. It was strictly 7 songs for 7 players in 7 days. It was so crazy. I was able to do it, but I gotta tell you, it was so hard. I mean, like I can create a song generally speaking within like a day or two, sometimes more depending. Uh, these ones I just picked them up and I just started writing, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, post down in the comments if you're getting this. This is the first live I've ever done, so I might be talking to myself, but that's not too irregular for me. Anyway, also I have a little few notes here that I want to make sure that I get to before we get started on the character creation, because I love character creation. I will tell you more about that in a second. So, also welcome to the new subscribers, people who are watching. William, nice to see you. Yeah, I have quite a few new subscribers. So if you're new to the channel, my name is David, but I also go by Bard. So if you hear both, you'll not get confused now. Everything that I've done on the channel from here to now has been with Jordan most of the time, but then the writing the music and all that stuff, that's been me. We have some more stuff coming out soon. Also, William is one of the creators here. Not officially Natural One, but I mean he pretty much is. We're editing a video right now called Secret of Mana. It's a video game. It's going to be coming out pretty soon, so yeah, we're pretty excited. I've almost got the music done. It's going to be cool. Anyway, also, I just want to say I've personally written 38 songs in almost 6 months. So I can do one hand clap because the other one's holding a computer. But yeah, seriously, I creative juices flow with this channel. I love writing music for you guys, and I'm going to continue doing that. So don't you worry about that. Today, I just wanted to go off a little bit and talk about character creation because I've had a few comments about what I do, whether it's like homebrew or more linear, and I will get around to that. I think that would be a good one for next week. Also, let me know in the comments what you'd like to see, those that are watching the playback or live, probably not live right now. But if you want, you can go ahead and just comment down there and say what type of things you want to talk with or discuss about. So you can join me live and we can talk about those things together and kind of have a discussion, because I don't want to be just me talking at you, because so much of YouTube and so much of social media is people just telling you what they think. And I want to talk to you and get ideas from you so I can do things in the future anyway. Anyway, so let's get right down to it. So 5 tips. Ooh, yeah, 5 tips about creating characters, creating creative characters. It is so easy to get stuck in the whole rigmarole of creating something, especially when they give you the handbook, and that's very useful. And I love that. It's a super guideline, but that's something you need. You need the player's handbook to do this. Um, you can also go online and do stuff like that, but I like having the whole book with me personally. Some people do PDFs, but I like the book. You can create an interesting character, but you want to go off of these type of things. At least in my opinion, there's so many out there, and I didn't look up people to get ideas from them, and I was about to. I was typing in 10 creative tips, but I'm like, you can go up and look that up yourself, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you what I think, because that's what you're here for, right? Okay, so an interesting character is a real person, is a part of you, because you're creating that person, and whether you like it or not, something, some part of you gets in there. So you got to create a character that you love. What I mean by that is you have a backstory, so should your character. Mistakes and triumphs create real characters. I love what Louis C.K. said. He said, if you went back and erased all of your mistakes, you'd erase yourself. Some of you may disagree. Some people say, I wish I could erase my mistakes, but everything I am today is because of it. So when you're creating a character, I like to personally go through it and think, who is this person? Whether it's a fighter or a druid or something like that, think about why they're a fighter, why they're a druid, what made them that way. And not just a simple backstory. I'm talking about a compelling backstory, almost like a book or a movie. So think about that when you're creating your character. Something I do. Next, I have a creative character gives the world more life, not taking away, such as like metagaming or things like that. So if someone's saying, "Well, I think that it's a dragon," and would your character know that if you roll like a history check and your character doesn't know anything about dragons? Maybe you shouldn't just start spouting off and saying things about dragons that you know and their weaknesses and things like that, especially if you're a DM on the side. I had to take this credit for myself because I've had someone tell me, actually William, he was like, "Well, that's kind of metagaming. Your character wouldn't know that." And I'm like, "Duh, of course my character wouldn't know that." He's like, "It's a stupid sorcerer that's been, yeah." I'll tell you about that guy later. But anyway, don't metagame. That's just my personal opinion. If you know something, keep it to yourself until the DM talks about it and it comes up in a natural conversation like your character would. Oftentimes, when your character, or if you're DM tips, if your characters are talking about things and your players are saying things, you just might want to bring it back a little bit and say, "Hey, what does your character think?" Because if your character doesn't know it, they shouldn't be saying stuff. Anyway, that kind of ruins a game. So, my opinion. If your DM talks to the players, don't just brood. Um, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. I get so bugged when people just they can't get a thing across, and so they just kind of just sit back. So definitely change that. Okay, next step. The character is willing to let others take the lead once in a while. This is what I was talking about. Give others a chance. If someone is quiet, ask them what they think. Be a player character that lives in the world. So you're not the single person running through a campaign unless that's what you're doing, which can be done. I just heard it's not that fun, but it could be. Who knows? But if someone at the character, if someone on the table is sitting there and just kind of quiet and isn't saying anything, but kind of seems like they want to react, ask them. Say, as your character, "Lord Jonathan, what do you think we should do?" And it gives them this kind of like, "Oh, people care what I think," and then they'll jump right in and they start being themselves. So make your character someone who is thoughtful in the sense of talking to people, because it's so easy to get lost in the whole "I am the most important person in the world and my backstory means that I am amazing." Don't create a character that's so perfect that they forget to be human or elf or drow, or that's an elf. You know what I mean? Don't forget to be a person. All right. A good character is someone who knows the role they play. So if you're a rogue, kind of be sneaky, because sometimes we've played with rogues that forget they sneak and just go charging right in. I'm like, "You're not a tank. Maybe you should go as a tank." Paladin, be a paladin. If don't go mutilating people and going crazy. I'm thinking about certain people. My players would know. You want to be a person. You want to be an actual person. And so when you're playing a paladin, be thinking about, what does my god want? What would I do as this character to define my beliefs, my core beliefs, and then kind of put them on other people, because paladins can be kind of one of two people. So yeah, so be yourself. And remember, chaotic neutral is not chaotic stupid. We've heard it said a few times, but I love that one because it's so easy to forget that. And lastly, the last thing I want to mention today is enjoy yourself, even if that means showing up in full garb, whatever helps you get into the character. Now, I've been using and dabbling more with voices because I've been doing some voice acting stuff on the side, not like for things in particular, but practicing. And I've found that putting accents on things, making characters have certain flaws in the way they talk, or making them talk too fast or too slow or something, make them different from every NPC that you come across, especially if you're DMing. But if your character, and you're talking about the person you've created, you spent some time in developing, not just the class, and I could go over class, I could go over what types you could be, but you're not stupid, and you've seen the videos online and you've seen the actual books. So I'm telling you my opinion away from the book. I mean, they have talked about a few of these things, but when you're looking at a character, try to think about what they would sound like when they speak. Don't just say, in my opinion, don't do this. uh, Stop saying, and I need to stop, "My character says this." Just say it, because you're playing the game. When you're playing a game, you're not doing that. If you're playing like Halo or something and you're shooting someone, you're like, "I said I shoot you." They know what you're saying and they know that you shot them. But be your character and say, I will not go into that place. Say it and mean it and put an accent. Do something similar to. I mean, look up. What's his name? Matt Mercer or Chris Perkins, or look at these great DMs and look at these great players that play with them. They all have voices, and it's not saying you can't play D&D if you don't have a voice or something, but put yourself into it or put something more into it that you kind of are afraid to do because yeah, it might seem kind of dorky and quirky at first, but when you start doing it, I assure you that everything's going to kind of change the way you kind of look at it. You get so engrossed in the world and you become that person. And it kind of, and I've had this talk before with people, is that it has kind of a leaking effect, meaning you kind of develop certain attributes that that character had and vice versa. But I mean, I've been able to gain confidence where I didn't have some, and sometimes I've been in like a situation where someone was gonna berate me for something, and I literally did this. And I know it sounds super nerdy, but I've gone into like, what would my character say, or what would they do? And it's given me a boost of confidence. And that sounds crazy to some people, but psychologists say that it's not so nuts. All right, well, I feel like there's so many nuances between all these different characters and what you can do and one's experience with these characters. But versus another, you can basically understand that the perfect character is not perfect because we're not. So, all in all, just think about your class. You can also think about this. There's a quiz that I'm going to put at the bottom of this. I put it in my Instagram, so you can go check that out as well. It's Natural One Official, really easy to find. But this character creation type thing, it's this huge list of like 160 questions. If you have time, I recommend you do it because it is super like all encompassing of your person as you, and it kind of puts it into a character. So they put all the D&D 5e 5th edition classes in there. And I got to say it is super fun because when I finished with it, it said I'm a neutral not it was neutral good, and I was a bard, and I was like, that's so funny because that's exactly what I would have chosen in exact alignment, and it talked about why I would have picked that. It's kind of fun, so I'm going to put that in the description below. I'm not affiliated with them at all. I just thought it was really cool, so I think you guys would like it. Anywho, I think that this went well. I know I'm talking to myself. If you have any questions, anyone that is live or afterwards, I always get on. I am super involved in the channel, so anytime there's a comment, I try to respond to it. If I don't, then I will probably respond to it later. But like I said, you can do that. Also, like I said before, some of you didn't catch it unless you're watching the playback. Every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'm going to be doing this. So whether there's no one here or there's a bunch of people here, I'm going to be doing this. So anyway, thank you so much for watching Natural One. And as I always say, may your rolls always be natural ones, just not natural ones, because that's awful. It's just plain awful. Anywho, I love you guys. You're the best. I will talk to you later. See you next week. Also, I have some new songs coming out and all that fun stuff. So toodaloo.